Going to build this particular Rate the Sport app as part of our workshop number 1. So in this page, if you see, there is a header component and there is this left side component where we are listed all the sports. There are 12 sports here, and on the right side panel where you are seeing the sport and its a total rating, and this will get updated when we update the rating for each sport, and it will be automatically sorted out on the left side as well as the right side. Okay, so this will automatically get updated and sorted out on the left side, at the same time right side. This is what we are going to build as part of the first workshop, and we need 3 components. One for the header, one for the left component where we are displaying the sports and the rating, and the one component for the right side data to display. So there will be data sharing also between these components. Let's see how we can implement it. So as part of this workshop, I'm using Bootstrap CSS and NGB rating module to hold the rating, and a service to hold the initial data of sports images and initial rating of 0. And the service is going to be injected into the main app component, and the data is shared to sports dashboard and the sorted rating component from the parent, which is of app component. Okay, and when the user click the rating in the rating sports dashboard, it is sent back to the app component, and in turn again it is sending it to the sorted component. So in this workshop we are going to majorly cover the Angular 17 loops as well as Angular service to hold the state which is of data, and the data sharing between the parent to child and child to parent. Now let's start writing the code. So I'm first creating a project. So it's going to be the rating app. It's not a standalone application. I'll just use CSS for now. So it is creating the project. So now the project is created. So I'm starting the Angular 17 project. Okay, now the application is up and running, the plain application. This is the Angular 17 project. Okay, now the project is imported here. Okay, in this images folder, I have all these sports images, okay, that I already copied. So what I'll do is I'll cut this. Since Angular always expect the static content to be within the assets folder, so I copy pasted all these images here. Okay, this is the first step. Okay, and right now I don't want all this content, so as a second step I'm removing everything. Okay, now I removed everything. It is a plain blank application. And the first thing that I wanted to do is I want to use the Bootstrap in this project for the CSS. So I don't have Bootstrap right now. I'm going to first add the Bootstrap. So right now I'm in the application. So the first thing is npm install save. I want to add the Bootstrap. So it will make the entry here. So this is the Bootstrap that is added. And along with this, I want to use the Bootstrap icons. Okay, so I'm including Bootstrap icons. So I need NGB Bootstrap to add the rating. I'm going to use the NGB rating module. So for that, I'm adding the Bootstrap to the application. So now I have Bootstrap installed. Okay, let's start from here. Overall, we need a navigation bar, left side component and right side component. Okay, first to start with, I'll add a navigation bar. So since I already included Bootstrap, I can directly use the Bootstrap CSS. I wanted this content to be center aligned, the heading. Okay. So here I'll say, since I already included the Bootstrap icons, I can directly use the icons. So it will have the half star icon. Okay, let's check. Along with ng Bootstrap addition, I need to add Bootstrap CSS here. So I included it. I'm assigning, I wanted to add the CSS to align the text to center, and this is my font family and the color of the background main screen. Use Bootstrap in the angular.json. We need to include the Bootstrap CSS here. So Bootstrap CSS is already included here. Along with this, we need to include the JavaScript also. So this is I included Bootstrap CSS, Bootstrap icons, and Bootstrap min.js. These are needed for Bootstrap to use. Now, if you see, this is how it is right now. Okay. Now, let's adjust this. Well, let's add a HR just to add one line. Okay. Now I'll push this content to center. I'll add the color. I'll change the color to white, and the HR also. Okay. Now this is how it is, but the icon is not displayed. Sometimes with the Angular 17, this is what I noticed. Some of the changes are not directly reflecting. Let's see after this whether it will reflect. Now we got the heading, navigation bar. Now we need left side component to display the sports and rating on the right side. Okay. Since we need the two components, so we'll create a component from Angular schematics, ng generate component. I'll call the main screen as a sports dashboard screen. So I'll create a component. So the main screen has a sports dashboard, and the side component, I'll say sorted sports, where we are displaying the content on the right side. Okay. Since we got two of these components, okay, I just wanted to take the left side, like almost 80% of this component to the left side I want to use for one component, and 20% to the right component. So for that I need to add a Bootstrap CSS. So Bootstrap grid model, it will always consider each as a row, and within the row we can divide it based on the number of columns for each one. So we'll divide twice, because for this one we need 10% to the left side one, and only 20% to the right side one. For that we need to use call extra small, almost 10 I want to use. This is extra small works for the smallest screen window, and I want small as well, medium screen, and a large screen. For whatever the screen it is, the left side component should take 10 out of 12 grid model. Grid model divides the row total page into grid model, divides the page into 12 pieces. Okay. Left side one I am giving 10 pieces. For the right side one I am giving 2 pieces. So I'll say 2, 2, 2, 2. Now what I'll do is app. What was the component that we created for this? Sports dashboard. Okay. So this will go here, and the second piece, right side one, it will go app sorted sports will go here. Okay, now let's check. So this is how it is. This is center aligned. This is, so 2 pieces for the right side, 10 pieces of the grid mode grid to the left side. Okay, now this looks good. Now to start with, I want to display the sports and the rating content here. Okay, for that, first let's go to this particular component. Okay, within this component, I want to get that sports data from the service. Okay, I'll create a service, ng generate service. So I'll create a sports service. Okay, so it will create the sports service. So now I have a sports service here. I'll keep the state management point of view. From Angular, we have to always keep the content in the service and use it wherever it is needed. Okay, for that reason, now I'm going to set the data in this particular service. Okay, so I'll add this sports, but I need I want to use an interface for this. Okay, let me, okay, it is an array. Within the array we'll have different objects, but I need this interface, sport interface. Okay, so I'll just use ng schematics interface sport. So now I got a sport interface. Okay, first I'll start from here. In this, I have three properties. What kind of a sport it is, and it is a string value, and the image of the sport. Okay, so this will be a string value and the rating for the sport. Okay, so it will be, of course, it's a number, 1 to 10 numbers. Okay, this is the interface that I need, and I'm going to use this interface here. Okay, for the strict some time, I copy pasted all the sports that are needed. Okay, and then the sport name, image URL, and the rating. This image is part of the assets, images. If you see, assets, images, and the sport, the PNG. Okay, now I need a observable method which will return these sports. Okay, for that I need to write a method. So I'll write a method called get sports, which is of observable, and it will return list of sport object interface. Okay, so and okay, this is a method. For this one, return, it will return this dot sports, but since it is observable, we need to use of. Okay, this is from RxJS. Let's import this. Okay, now we have a service which is ready to return this data. Okay, now let the app component will share, we will call this service and get the data in the app component and share the same data between these two, dashboard component as well as the sorted sports component. For that, to use the service, we need a private sports service. We need to inject this sports service into the constructor. Okay, the next thing is I want to get this data by calling the service. For that, I'm going to implement onInit, and it will force us to include ng onInit method. Now within this, I'll add sports of observable. Now observable of sport of list of sports. Okay, should be like this, and this sport is of interface. Okay, import the interface. Now I'll call this one, since the data that is coming from this particular method is observable, so that's why I need to assign the data to an observable. So within this dot sports equal to this dot, oh sorry, not here, okay, this dot sports service dot get sports. This is it will return observable. Okay, that's why I assigned it to observable. Now I'll share this data between the two components. Okay, now let me display this content. For that, I need to pass this sports data to the child component. So let's start from here. Okay, here I'm passing this particular data to child. Okay, now even I need the same sports to be sent to this one also, but let's see. Right now I need to pass the sports that I got from here, this particular content, to here. So right now the reason why it is throwing error is because there is no input property. Okay, within this I need @input. So app component is sharing the data to the child component, which is sports. Okay, I'll get the sports data, and which is of observable of sport of array. So array of sports we are returning, we are getting from the parent. Okay, so input. So now I got the data. Okay, now I can display this data in the HTML. Okay, now I want to use the CSS classes of Bootstrap. I start with container fluid. I want the full left container. Okay, now let me see what is this issue. Sports cannot be bind. Sometimes Angular 17 it is not reflecting the changes properly. Now I added a child input. It should work. Yeah. Okay. Now within this container, at the same time I even want to display the data in a single row, the flex row format in the same row. Okay, for that I am adding these CSS classes. Now one thing here is, since this is observable, I cannot directly for loop, I cannot directly iterate this on here. Instead I need to for this I need to first async these particular records. So for this what we will do is, I need to first check async of this async as sports. Why I need to do this? Because before I iterate, because it is a observable, it is not direct data. So now within this I need to for loop this data. So sport of sports, since I'm getting this sports and this sports. Okay, sports track by sport name. Okay, this is how you can loop in Angular 17. And if it is empty, I want to say loading the sports, please wait. Okay, now here I need to display the content. Since I have 12 sports that I want to display, I'll display only 4 in each row. Okay, For that, again, I need to use the Bootstrap grid model. Since I already added row here, I can directly go to the column. Extra small 3 because I want grid model has 12 pieces, so I'm using 3 so that I can align 4 at a time in the same row. Small 3, medium 3, LG 3, large 3. Okay, so that in one row only 4 pieces are aligned, so 4 sports are going to be displayed in each row. Cut this and put it here. Okay, now once I get this sport, I want to display this in a card format. I think this each one should, okay, this one should go out, not inside. Yeah. Okay, within this I want to use a card. So div class card, I want to use the card to display the sport. I'll just give some width here itself. I'll give some basic width for this card. And within the card, I wanted to display the image. So for that image, there is a CSS class from Bootstrap to display the image. I'm using the same CSS class. And SRC, this will be the actual URL. And this sport dot image URL that I'm going to use here. Okay, and if there is no image, I want to display the name of the image if the image is not available. Okay, now image is closed. Now we can see the image. Okay, now you see the images are displayed, but each image is height is not proper. So let's align these images to specific height and width. So the card also, I'll set the minimum margin because everything is clubbed close to each other. I'll give some spaces for better viewing purpose. I'll give margin of 10 pixel on all the sides, so it will have some spaces. Okay, and now for each image I want to set the proper height. I think I'll go with 150 height and the same width. Okay, now if you see, height and width is same. Okay, height is not good enough. Let's go for 200. Okay, now the height is, let's change it to 250. Looks good. So now I have all the sports here. Okay, and so within this I need a icon to select the rating under each sport. Okay, and also I need the name of the sport also. I'll use the card body. Okay, div class card body. Okay, within the card body I'll just use h5, and there is a Bootstrap CSS class card title that I can use. Here I want to display the sport name, okay, of each sport. Now you can see the sport name here. Okay, also under this I want to show the rating. Okay, so there is a ngb rating module already existing module from ngb rating that I want to use. If you see the rating, but now I need to get hold of, when I click this, I need to select that number, what number, the specific number. For that I need a value to hold whatever the user clicked. So whatever user clicked, to get hold of that I need there is a property called rate which will get hold of that rating. So this one will hold whatever the rating that is coming from the parent, this particular sport record. Right now it is 0, okay, because the interface service, if you see, everything is 0, okay, that's why right now it is 0 displayed on the screen. Now when the user click that, there is a existing function called rate change. When the user click this one, what we wanted to do, okay, within this I want to send a rating update, okay. Within this rating update, I want to pass the sport name, okay. I might try to getting a value from this particular one, okay. Sport name, okay. At the same time, sport image URL, comma, rating, okay. Rating is, if I directly use sport.rating, it will have 0 always, but I want to get hold of what is selected in this. To get to whatever the user clicked on the page, I want to get hold of that, this value, so that will come as an event. It will have the number whatever the user selected, okay. Now if I go back to this, within this I need to write this particular method, okay. This particular method is getting 3 properties, these 3, sport and all these 3. First one, sport, which is of string. Second one, image URL, which is of string. Third one is rating, which is of number, whatever the user selected, that particular number. When I receive this one, if I update this rating in this particular sports dashboard, I cannot send the data to the sorted one. So I need to get the data from here and send it to this particular component. For that, I need to send the sports data from app component to this one. We used input, right? To get the data in return back to the parent, we need to use output, okay. So first thing, to send that data, I need output of, so it's a sports rating update, right? Whatever the user selected. So I want to create an event out of this using event emitter, okay. Event emitter is something that we have to use to send the data to the parent, okay. The type, currently I'm using it as any. Instead, we can create one more interface with this and use that name directly without any confusion, okay. Now since I have this event emitter, when there is an update, I'll send this update to the parent by using emit method. So emit method is going to send the data to the parent using output, okay. Within this, I want to create an object, okay, with the sport. This will be the value of the sport, and image URL, and the image URL, and the rating number. So here what I am doing, when the user select the rating, I added a rate change event which will hit this rate change method. Because of this particular method, okay, it will get the data here, and within this I have 3 properties that I sent. I used sport image, but the dollar event for the rating, because I want to get the latest rating, okay. For that I used dollar event. So I got the latest rating and I am sending this data to the parent, okay. If I want to sort the data, I need this data to be updated to the parent, but to get hold of this data in the parent, I need to use this one. Let's go here. This will be the event, and I need to add a handler here, okay. So this is receiving data from receiving rating update from child, okay. Here again it will be event, okay. I need to get hold of the data, I need to write this function over here and get the data out of it, okay. Here I'll get the dollar event, and which is of type 3 fields, okay. or I can directly use interface because 3 fields are there. Let's do one thing. Even if you say event, single event, it should work because there is no sport. Oh, not the event, sorry, sport. Okay, sport. Now I can assign this to sport. I'll get a sport object. Okay, once I receive the update, okay, what I'll do is I need to update. This is the initial sports data, right? I need to update the current rating to this. Since this is a observable, okay, I need to subscribe to get hold of the data. So once I get the data out of it, I need to get hold of the data. Okay, so right now I have the data. What is the updated record that I want to find out from this sports? Okay, to find out that updated data, I'll use find index. First I'll get the index of it. Okay, under x sport equal to $event dot sport. Okay, here what I'm doing, I'm taking this particular updated record sport name and comparing with this total sports. Okay, if that is matching, I'm getting hold of that specific record index. Okay, from this, now I'm going to update the new rating for this. Okay, for that I can use this index, data of this index, and I can set this event object so that it will replace the old object with the old rating with the new rating that is coming from the child. Okay, coming from the sports dashboard. Okay, now that I have the data, now I want to sort this data because based on the rating I wanted to sort on the UI. So I'll have a comma b. This is JavaScript or TypeScript based direct method that we can use to sort. Okay, so within this p dot rating, okay, it will sort the data and again assign it to data. Okay, now since this is sorted out, okay, now I want to send this data to sorted component. Okay, to pass the data to sorted component to display it to the right side of the screen. Okay, I need this particular updated rating data I'm going to pass because sorry, I'll say sorted sports data with the updated rating. Here I'll just say updated rating data coming from the parent. Okay, let me use this and assign this data to it. Initially I'll just create this like a array of sport. Okay, now I'm passing this data here, but the reason why we are getting this issue is because we need to again add input here for this. Okay, there is no input right now, that's why it is failing. Okay, we need to use sorted sport as an input because from app component we are passing this data to child. So for that, to get hold of this data, we need to use input @input. This is array of sport. Okay, now I can use this data to display the right side component. Okay, sometimes it is not directly picking up the data. I don't know why. With Angular 17, I need to restart sometimes it is not picking up the updates by default. Even though I added input here, still it is not reflected. Let's stop and start the application. See, now it is reflected. Now on the right side we'll display the sport details. Okay, For that, I can simply use the for loop and display. I will add a div. I'll display it in a better format. I'll add a sport class. Again, I went to CSS class. This one. Div. Okay, within this div, let me add the Angular 17 for loop. Sport of sports, sorted sports, track sport. Okay, if this is empty, I'll say none of the records found. If it is not empty, I want to, maybe I'll use h3 to display this content, to display the sport name and the rating. Sport name and sport rating. Okay, I'll just align this to look better. I'll add a sports CSS class and within this sports class, I'll say the color of the text to white and the font size to large, and I'll align the text to left. Okay, now there is nothing. Let's see. Okay, now if you see, when I click this particular content, this is sorted out. At the same time, right side also it is sorted out. Okay, now I'll say only one. Okay, one moved up the paintball and it is here. It is sorted. Okay, and I'll just remove. Okay, basketball. So this value moved American football. Okay, baseball, I'm making it only one. Okay, say baseball became one. Okay, and baseball pushed here. And again, I'll select ice skating 10. Okay, ice skating came to the top, which is on the top on the left side. Okay, so let me just, okay, now the rating app, when I click this, selected 10 and I'm removing everything. Basketball only one, so basketball only one. Boxing, I'm changing it to 6. Boxing 6. Okay, it is moved to the top 3. And cricket, I'm changing it to 10. So cricket is here because 3 or 10 have 10 values. That's a cricket mode here. So this is how you can set. So let's understand the code. Okay, it is straightforward thing. This is okay. Let's start with app component. So here what I am doing, I added a navigation bar with a HR. So this is a navigation bar with HR, white color bar. And I added a row which is of Bootstrap CSS. I'm saying take the 10 pieces out of, so Bootstrap grid will have 12 pieces. So it will cut this whole left to right screen into 12 pieces. Okay. So out of those 12 pieces, I'm saying use this 10 pieces to display this dashboard and use the 2 pieces for this app sports. Okay. So 10 pieces, up to 10 pieces it took and 2 pieces for this one. Okay. Now the first one, app dashboard, I created one particular component for the left piece and sorted sports with the second component on the right side. But I am getting this data, initial data from the service. Okay. So I set this data in service. Usually in real-time production, we'll get this data from backend API. Okay. So initially everything is 0. And I injected the service here, getting that observable here. And when the user click this number, okay, since this is part of sport dashboard, okay, when the user click the rating, okay, let me just push this down. Okay, when the user click this rating, the rate change triggered. Okay, and I'm getting the current sport, current image, but the rating changed. Okay, for that reason, I got hold of this particular rate change event. Okay, and calling this particular function. So when I go to this function, I passed these three values with a new rating and created a spot object and emitted. Emit meaning wherever this particular event is used, it will get the data. So this one is used in the app component. Okay, since because of that, whatever is emitted, it will get hold of that event object. And here we got this event, and we already got the sports. This sports is the initial sport, and this one has a updated sport with the rating. For that reason, I am trying to find this current sport, okay, and its index, and replacing the current object with a new object, including the new rating. Okay, then I'm sorting this data based on the rating number. Okay, then I am sending this sorted data to the rating screen, which is on the right side. Okay, so this whole piece is app component, and there are two components, left side, right side. App component is getting the service data and passed to the left component and right component. Let's look at this in the representational format. Okay, this is one of the Angular 17 feature. Okay, now if you see injection tree, injector tree, if you see here, there is a app component. Okay, there is the app component. Within this, I have sports dashboard, sorted sports, and router outlet. Since we don't have any routes, we can ignore this. These two are injected. Okay, but the data is flowed from here to here, here to here, and whatever is updated here, this is pushed to the app component, and again it is pushed to the sorted component. That's why you are seeing the proper sorted order on the right side of the screen here. Okay. This is how you can check. Okay, let me close this one. So I hope you understood. If you have any questions, message me or comment for my video. I'll share this code through the Bitbucket pipelines URL, and I'll share that URL as well. Thank you. See you in the next workshop.